Hey guys, Magnus Robber here, bringing you another Walking Dead character video. We've reached a 50 in the series, so we're doing another webisode character. This one is a request by Sir Ray. Shout out to him. He of course makes that playlist you can find down below with all of the deaths in order. Today we will be looking at Karina, the protagonist of the Oath webisode. Karina is of course female. She is played by Ashley Bell. She is late 20s to early 30s and first appeared in Alone, which is the first part of the Oath webisode series. Nothing is known about her pre-outbreak, but early on after it began, Karina killed a man in the woods who she mistook as a zombie. After the man's daughter began screaming from the trees, Karina ran away and didn't confront what she did. After this, she quickly joined a group when she was found by Paul, and she became good friends with him. When he first met her, Karina was forced to take Paul's oath of one lives, all live. The group of 20 was stationed in Rockport, Georgia, and the camp began to feel like home. However, soon the camp was attacked by the dead. Karina had made friends with a young woman who was bitten during the attack. In the Oath, Karina holds her dying friend in her arms and screams as the camp is torn apart around her. Everyone, aside her and Paul, was killed. A zombie notices her, but Paul comes to save her. He tells her they must go and demands that she leaves her friend. Karina doesn't want to, but they flee the burning camp. She soon stops Paul as they run and remarks that everyone is gone. He tells her they have to keep moving and reminds her of the time he first found her and asks her to repeat the oath, which she does. He promises he won't leave her. In the morning, they come across the famous green Hyundai. Yes, it's the same one from the show. Karina looks at what appears to be the owner who has been devoured. Paul says he can't find the keys, but Karina manages to fish them out of the corpse. She begins to search the car, but soon hears Paul wince in pain. She goes to see a nasty gash and asks if it's a bite, but he tells her it's just a cut. They begin to look at the map, noting that it has all the med stations marked on it. Paul begins to collapse and Karina helps him in the car, promising to get him to one of those med stations. Karina drives to the closest one on the map, but it's overrun. As she drives to the next one, she tells Paul to hang on in there as he worsens. The second one isn't any better, it's also overrun, and she checks on Paul again. He tells her to go to the next one. As she drives to the next one, she reminds Paul he promised to stay with her. They arrive at the next location, which, unknown to the audience at the time, is Harrison Memorial Hospital, the same hospital that Rick, of course, woke up in. Karina kicks away the furniture that's blocking the door, and using a wheelchair, she wheels in Paul and searches for a room. She goes into a room and begins looking for supplies. However, as she does, she hears a walker snarling outside. She wheels Paul into the room and tries to shut it, but can't. The zombie pokes his head around the door and Karina screams. She falls down and aims her revolver, but she misses her shot. Well, she misses a headshot anyway. She screams for help, and Dr. McCunes shows up and kills the zombie. She tells Karina she's a doctor and helps her up. Karina helps to get Paul into a hospital bed, and Karina thanks her for saving them. And McCunes talks about Paul's condition and notes his restraints are a precaution in case he turns. Karina asks if Paul is going to die, and McCunes says that they need to wait. Karina touches Paul with worry. Outside the ward, Karina tells Gale about her group and what recently happened. Gale tells Karina about what happened in the hospital during the beginning of the outbreak, and Karina sees the destruction and blood. Karina is then told the story of Kate, an intern who Gale killed to stop from being raped by some patients. Gale puzzles over Karina calling the dead decays, and then Gale tells Karina about her oath being to help people who need help. Sometime later, Karina is told by Gale that Paul's body is shutting down and tells her that he has to go. He has to die. Karina begins to break down, but McCunes tells her it'll be okay and she'll do it now. Karina cries as Gale wheels away Paul and obviously probably thinks that Gale is going to euthanize him, but obviously she doesn't. With Gale, later, Karina tells the tale of shooting the man in the woods and how she left the man's daughter all alone to die. She tells Gale she knew that she'd be the last one of her group and that this is justice. She's going to die alone and scared just like that little girl. Karina says if this is all she's destined for, to keep surviving and losing people, then she would rather just kill herself. However, she jokes that it's a shame that Gale can't prescribe bullets because she's all out. But Gale offers her something else. Karina gets in a bed as Gale begins to take out some euthanizing medicine, I'm not sure what it is. Gale remarks how, with Kate, she was able to offer help in another way, no more violence or loss. She approaches Karina and Karina accepts the injection. Off-screen, Karina is injected and begins to die as Gale strokes her head. Suddenly Paul bursts in, having not died, and she looks to him and smiles. But as she looks upon Paul, this happens to Karina. Died from the effects of the injection. Paul tries to wake up Karina, but she's gone. Sometime later, Paul tells a dead Karina that she gave up and thought everything she had was gone, but here he is, and she was never alone. With that, Karina turns into a walker. Paul takes some pliers and takes out her teeth and leaves the hospital with a toothless zombie Karina, taking her with him so that she can fulfill the oath she took. That's the last we see of Karina. Now, it's possible that Karina is still a zombie that's out there. Maybe he was still with Paul. But as for a character, that is it. That is it. Considering we see the Hyundai abandoned on the highway, I think it's somewhat probable that Paul and Karina are gone now. Maybe Paul was killed by some zombies and Karina was eventually put down by another survivor. Karina was a troubled survivor who had lost so much. It's clear she wasn't meant for this world, and after she thought Paul was gone, she wanted to die. I like the brutal twist though. I assume that she regretted what she asked for as she died, and the last thing she saw was Paul. Tell me your thoughts on Karina. I found her a very interesting mini character to look at. Next episode we are on themes, and we're finally doing our zombie theme, so that'll be fun. See you then. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.